The basic idea of starting interagency competition was to encourage children to interact with each other. In 1970, there was a proposal to start Okhla Neighborhood Health and Welfare Pilot Project. This was a project which was jointly sponsored by a big funding organization in Holland, SOS, and there were two components, health and welfare. Health part of the components were taken by Public Health Department of Holy Family, and welfare part was taken by JMI School of Social Work. Later on, it became Department of Social Work. Now, this proposal, idea was that the Okhla neighborhood, at that time in 70s, had very few NGOs working there. Jamia was more in education, and they are very little to do the extension part of it. And it was only in Old Delhi, Balak Mata Center or other projects. In Okhla neighborhood, Jamia was simply giving education. So, we in School of Social Work felt, and looking into the NGOs, only NGO what was active at that time was the Family Planning Association of India, because that was the government project, and that from Mr. Satish Chandra was very active that time in pursuing that association. So we took up this project, funding 100% from Holland. Health part was taken by Public Health Department, Holy Family, and they were having immunization, nutrition, and other aspects. And welfare was taken by School of Social Work, in which we were having focus on children, and we had children's club. Then youth, we made youth clubs. Then women was the focus, and we had tailoring and embroidery classes in different areas in Okhla neighborhood. And then there was a effort to look into the senior citizens or elderly, and they came after we finished our evening program for gupshup and all that. Idea was to have, then we selected that how do we cover Okhla neighborhood. Okhla neighborhood, in fact, if you look into, there is a dividing road which comes from Mathura Road to Okhla Head. So we have taken both sides of this road. There were two centers on the Jamia College side. One was in Bharatnagar, which was a very old locality, and later on, at that time, New Friends Colony was very newly coming up. And the other was Jogabai. Jogabai is again a village which was right on the bank of Jamuna at that time. And on the right side, we had started from Masigad, which was an old village, and then went to the what is called Noor Nagar. That was newly coming up locality, and then the main center in Okhla village. Now, there was a society known as Maulana Azad Education Society. They had a building in Okhla, and that society handed over that building to School of Social Work, not exactly School of Social Work, but a new society which was made as Zakir Hussain Memorial Welfare Society. There was reason why this was not handed over to Jamia, because there were a lot of formalities. So we wanted to escape from that. So that society, the building was, Okhla Center was shifted to Zakir Hussain Memorial Welfare Society. And Zakir Hussain Memorial Welfare Society was one of the stakeholders in Okhla neighborhood welfare project. Like, School of Social Work was the umbrella, Holy Family Hospital was umbrella. Now, working centers were Zakir Hussain Society for Welfare and Public Health Department of Holy Family for Health Services. So that mechanism we worked in that project. And that project was for 5 years. That is from 1970 to 75, and later on extended for 2 or 3 more years. Now, let me come to the real question what you have asked about interagency competition. So we had 5 children clubs in these 5 centers. Okhla, we have our own building, and rest 4 buildings we have taken on rent. And except Jogabai, where the Chopal was given to us by the villagers to use as a Okhla center. Bharatnagar, again we got a very nominal rent, and one person was given us 2 rooms to run the center. Masigarh we taken on rent. So these centers were known as the welfare centers. Now these 5 welfare centers have activity from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the evening. Let me tell you the whole program of each center. We had nursery preschool education, commonly known as Balwadi, from 8 to 12. From 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we have tailoring and embroidery classes for the woman. And it's not only tailoring and embroidery, but this has given us a platform to work on for the woman. So there were talks on children, child rearing, there were talk on nutrition of the child, there were talk on the woman issues, the woman's right. So we got a platform by way of a tailoring center, but the idea was to overall look into women in that area. So that has happened. Then from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock was the time for children, and there were children's club. In the evening. 3 o'clock in the evening from 4 to 7:30. और बल्कि हमने वो टाइम वही रखा कि जब अजान हो शाम को तो children go back to home, and that was the culture in Jamia at that time, so we have done that. And then after half an hour, 8 o'clock, the youth club start functioning in the same center. And youths also have their own activities, carom board, or maybe some discussion, some issues, singing, dancing, so many programs, the youth was involved. And they were also involved in the welfare projects and all that. So it was known as a comprehensive health and welfare project. Similarly, Holy Family, they have their centers, and they were giving everything: medicine, health care, maternity care, nutrition, everything they have through the hospital and the project. Now the Okhla neighborhood project provided us funds for running these centers. So what happened? Each center have a center in charge. Each center have the tailoring teacher, embroidery and tailoring teacher with the helper. Then we have a child welfare worker who was managing then we have a youth welfare worker, etc. So the staff was part-time with very nominal salary, but they were there for 4 hours each. Now each center have these. And then to coordinate the whole neighborhood, we have a central office, which was headed by Chief Welfare Organizer of Welfare, Chief Welfare Organizer. And luckily, I was the first Chief Welfare Organizer in Zakir Hussain Memorial Welfare Society, and I worked for about 2 years in the initial stages, planning everything. So this was the case of how we started Child Welfare Center. Now these centers continued for a couple of months. Then we said, well, Bharatnagar children do not know Noornagar children. Noornagar children have no interaction with Matsigarh. We said, okay, let's do some inter-club activity. And initially it was known as inter-club activity, where all these 5 children's clubs have sports and cultural program for in one day. And the day what we have selected was the birth date of Dr. Zakir Hussain, on which name was. And Zakir Hussain Society's president was Saida Khurshid, wife of Khurshid Alam Khan. It was Zakir Saab's family, and initial few years the prizes were also given by Zakir Hussain's family, and they have contributed a lot of work they have done for this. So we started. See, once you start the work, funds keep on flowing. Because when you see people working, I have seen that there is no shortage of resources. So this has happened so this inter-club competition, which was started in 1970, it continued for about 4 or 5 years as a club activity. Then in the Department of Social Work, where after 2 years I joined as a lecturer, we thought this is only for the Zakir Hussain Society. Why can't we take this type of an activity for the whole Delhi, or if not whole Delhi, for all the agencies where Department of Social Work is sending their students? Why can't they be, and particularly those agencies which have the children activity, or the child is the focus? So I think it must be in 1975 or so, we shifted this inter-club competition into Zakir Hussain Society inter-agency competition. And then the involvement was not only for the 5 child welfare or center in charges or the central office of Zakir Hussain Society. The whole Department of Social Work was involved, because every student used to say, "Mere bacche bhi aayenge, mere bacche bhi aayenge," and then that is how the whole concept of having a big mela, I'll say mela because it was a very difficult thing at that time. Now we must have organized ourselves, but at that time, so many big questions. Questions like, how do we bring children from Najafgarh to Okhla? How do we bring children from Mangolpuri to Okhla? Srilampur to Okhla. Then we explored other resources. And what happened, we had another organization known as National Service Scheme. Now the problem with National Service Scheme was that they had lots of funds. So I said, I took the proposal, being a coordinator of National Service Scheme, to the Government of India, asking them, well, you give us money, why can't we organize interagency children? And they really jumped over. They said, why not? That can be one of the permissible activity under National Service Scheme. So the buses were hired with NSS money. Prizes were taken by NSS money. And I think even now this is the structure, or I don't know what is the position now, because I left JMI in 2012. I don't know what is happening now. But that was the original. But till 1912, when I was there, prizes, transportation and other activities or expenses which cannot be covered in the NGO, because and then what happened that the project also gets over, the Holland money was finished. So we were shifted, but we have our own resources, Jamia Department of Social Work contributing something, NSS contributing something, and then number of other people also sponsoring things in different way. So that way the whole concept of interagency competition came into picture. It started with 5 clubs and now it must be having 60, 70, 50 agencies coming together and doing this job. It was the vision of Professor Mosni, who was head of the department. And when we made Zakir Hussain Memorial Welfare Society, the very big question which was in our mind, how do we link Jamia Department of Social Work on the only thing what we could think of to have a NGO where we have enough of freedom to use, because Jamia have government procedures to get the things done. So we had NGO, we have created that NGO. It was registered under the Societies Registration Act. And what we decided that there will be members, executive, but the General Secretary of the Zakir Hussain Memorial Society, which is the chief executive in the society, will always be head of the Department of School of Social Work. So that worked out really very well. Because then that means the principal of the School of Social Work and General Secretary of the Zakir Hussain Society was the same person. So things can be implemented in a much simpler fashion. So it was an experiment done with 5 clubs. But then social work education, 70s or 80s was having their own. How do we strengthen our field work? If we send our children, our students to agencies which are supervised by untrained people, or sometimes there are no supervision at all in the agency level. So these 5 centers were the agencies where we were sure that there will be good people to supervise our students. About 25 students were sent to these centers, and some of them to the even health centers of the Holy Family. So that was an agency experiment of integrating theory with practice through Zakir Hussain Welfare Society. So it has win-win situation for all organizations. Because why I say win-win situation? Because School of Social Work got a good quality of supervision and agencies, and as a Zakir Hussain Society got lot of workforce, volunteers which have come and they were started working. And I remember, when we found that the project was over, so these volunteers, which were or students of social work, BA third year or so, they used to go and even run the children club. So we got a continuity. Even that 5-year project was over, the money was seized. We had, I think, every year students coming managing those children's club, which was so it was an experiment, and that was how And then the whole Delhi today knows about this interagency competition, because at least in the welfare sector I can say, and that was a very big thing. It was eye-opening for many people. I have seen even the Directorate of Social Welfare appreciating this. That's something which is good. So that is how I'd say it was an experiment. And experiment actually is the one which you start with some ideas and you don't really know where it will reach. So Mosni Sahab was a visionary. Whenever I used to see, he was my teacher also, because I was student of Professor Mosni in 63, 66, those years.
In the Rural Institute.
In Rural Institute. And he was my teacher. So I used to like him so much, and well, luckily he used to like me also, reciprocally. So whenever you sit with him, he has a new idea. Arey Kohli, aise kar lein, aise kar lein.